Good evening. Welcome to Talking Politics. I'm your host this evening, Mia Scanga. And tonight you're going to be meeting 4 of the 8 candidates who are running for the Jersey City Board of Ed. As you know, the Board of Ed election has been rolled into the general election, and that's going to be Tuesday, November 4th. And the polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you haven't registered to vote in Jersey City or you've moved, you have until October 14th to file the proper paperwork with the Hudson County Board of Elections. All the forms are online. You can mail them in or you can stop by personally, and they typically do have extended hours prior to that deadline. Now this year we have 3 positions that are available. They're all 3-year terms, which is the standard length of time. 2 of the 3 incumbents are running. One of them, Angel Valentine, was elected to the board in 2003 or 2005. He was placed on the board in 2003 by the state. He's decided not to run, which in my personal opinion is a good thing. And so he's the only incumbent not running. Carol Harrison Arnold won't be with us tonight because she had prior plans and is away for the weekend. And I have to admit, I gave very little notice on this. So with me right now, I have Monica Kress and Lorenzo Richardson. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Mia.
You're welcome. So why don't we start with you, Monica? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So Mia, I live in the Hilltop neighborhood. I am the daughter of a Cuban immigrant. So I'm very dedicated to education, especially as I watched my father pursue his own education as growing up. I've lived in Jersey City for about 8 years. Met my husband in Jersey City 12 years ago, so he roped me in. I love this community and everything about Jersey City. So happy to be here and happy to be running for the Board of Education and have the opportunity to make a big impact.
Okay, fine. And what about you, Lorenzo?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident here in Jersey City. My family was originally from the South. My grandmother moved up here many, many years ago. And so my parents and myself, of course, born and raised here. And throughout part of my life, we've had some struggles, but through it all, we stayed close as a family. And because of my education and perseverance and strong family bonds, we've been able to make a good life for ourselves here in Jersey City.
Okay, terrific. Now, do you have any children in the public schools?
No, not currently, but I do have a child.
You do have a child.
Yes.
How old is your child?
My child is 9 months old.
Oh, 9 months. Okay,
Yes.
You have some time then. And what about you, Monica?
I currently do not have any children, but I am an educational guardian for 2 students here in Jersey City.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so Lorenzo, let me start with you on this one. What motivates you to run for the Board of Ed?
Well, I went throughout this entire public school system throughout my life, and I had a great educational experience, and I see what's going on now in the educational system with a lot of the changes and mandates that are going down through the federal and state government that are not good in the interests of our children. So on a regular basis, I fight not only our local board, but on the state level as well as the national level to make sure that our children are getting a quality education and the needs and the support that they deserve.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, I know you're a frequent attendee of the Board of Ed meetings, correct?
Yes.
Right, okay. Monica, what about yourself?
Yep, so I'm running for the Board of Education because I've been an educator for almost 10 years, all in high needs schools. I have worked as a teacher, then I've worked as a coach and professional development provider, and I currently work as the Director of School Operations for an elementary school in Newark. And I've seen time and time again that success is possible for all kids despite the circumstances that they might be facing outside of school. And I'm committed to bringing those experiences and those best practices to all schools in Jersey City. And I believe that I have the background and the experience to bring a fresh perspective. And I am also, committed as a community member. I'm a small business owner here in Jersey City, and again, for all of the students that I know personally in the system.
Oh, okay, fine. Have you attended any Board of Ed meetings?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. Now, what do you consider, we'll start with you then, what do you consider some of the major issues that the Board of Ed is facing at this time?
Yeah, so I think a couple of issues of top importance. So one, a good problem, right? There's just a lot more kids in our public schools, and families for the first time are really committed to keeping their children in the public school system. So it's a good problem to have, but I think the board needs to work to make sure that we're increasing capacity so that all families have a seat and a school in their area. So I'm committed to working with the SDA to make sure that we're getting the money that we need to repair the facilities and the money that's owed to repair the facilities in current schools, as well as making sure that we're getting the money we need to build new schools, particularly in the Heights and in Lafayette.
Okay, well, that's a very long time frame of a project. Lorenzo, what about yourself?
Well, in this district, I've been fighting for those same issues for a number of years.
Which district is that?
This district, Jersey City.
Oh, okay. All
School
right. I
district.
thought you were talking about like the Heights or something like that.
No. In the school district, we've been fighting to make sure, because right now, for many years, we have not had a lot of facilities being repaired. As you know, School 20 is under construction, and that was a several-year fight. And then the governor had decided to pull the funding from a lot of our schools to allow the schools to be, not only new ones to be created, but others to be repaired. So now we're under the process of School 20 being built.
And where is that located?
That's located on Ocean Avenue and New Street, and also it borders us at Cater Avenue as well.
Okay. So that's in the Greenville section of Jersey City. Okay.
In the Greenville section. And then you also have space issues at many of the schools, as you know. That's why we have a lot of busing going on. And so those issues have been plaguing us for a while. And unfortunately, the board has not been proactive in looking at the trends of, births with population, shift movement. But they started to look at it recently, but now we're still behind the ball. And with the state not doing what they were supposed to do as far as getting a lot of the facilities built.
That's because they blew through billions of dollars and they never had anybody overseeing how the money was being spent. So I think they blew through $6 billion in a flash. It cost them, I read one place, triple the amount of money to build a school because the politicians, all their friends made a lot of money on the deal.
Yeah, even some of the schools that we had built downtown, like 4 and 3, they felt they were a little over budget as well.
But those were in the makings. They started that fight 20 years before.
Yeah. And so you see how long the process is taking. So we're kind of slow catching up.
Right.
So it's important that we're staying on the ball with that, and we're paying attention to what's happening with population, with births. And where people are deciding to stay, because migration happens all the time.
Sure.
But you have to look at those census numbers. You have to look at where people are moving to.
Right.
And it's important to make sure that we're focused on that, because that's going to determine where we need to build schools, what the facilities need to look like.
I completely understand. I think they did a survey of that and they brought it up. The preschool is really a problem, especially in the downtown area, because of the influx of all the new buildings that are going up.
Yes.
Right. What do you think about the teacher's contract? That expired August of 2013. Why don't we start with you, Monica? What are your thoughts on that? There was a recent article in the newspaper. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see it. So first and foremost, I am a teacher at heart and was a former member of the United Federation of Teachers. So I understand the importance of having a teacher contract and am committed to making sure that...
What about 20% over 3 years?
So I, without knowing, right, I heard the same information you did. I would want to know from the union leadership why they're requesting what is 3 times the average pay raise across the city or across the state.
Across the country, for that matter.
Yeah, so I would be curious to understand a little bit more about what that claim is and to actually understand a little bit more about the claim. However, I do think it's important that we do find a resolution, and I'm definitely committed to working with the union to figure out a fair and equitable contract and making sure that there's enough money on the table that would not lead us to massive teacher layoffs.
Right.
That would make sure that all of the other unions and people who participate
Right.
in our schools also
Sure.
have a fair
How about
contract.
Lorenzo? What about, because we're running low on time here.
Okay, well, I have a bachelor's and master's in accounting, so I'm going to look at that very closely. I do believe that that number is probably not realistic.
I hope not.
That was
I
in the
mean,
newspaper.
it's
But
huge
at
increase.
the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that if there's a contract in place, and there will be a contract in place, if we're elected board members of the Children First team, that we will make sure that it's fair for the teachers, but especially fair for the children, and especially fair for the taxpayers at the end of the day.
Right, because you guys both realize there's a 2% cap on raising taxes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And health insurance goes up every year, double digits, as well as pensions, right? Very quickly, what are your thoughts on chartered schools?
Yep. So
Let's start with Lorenzo.
Okay.
I'll give him a shot
no
at that.
problem.
Okay, well, charter schools are an option for parents, and I freely allow any parent to make sure that they are allowed, because by law in the state of New Jersey, you're allowed to have options for your children. And I believe that a parent should be able to make that decision for their child. When it comes to our public schools, I believe that if we're doing everything that we need to do in our public schools to make sure that they're absolutely the best, not that I'm against charter schools, but I'm hoping that we can put charter schools out of business because everyone will want to send their children to public schools.
Well, charter schools are funded by the public schools, so they are
Right.
a form of public school, and they're usually by, they do lotteries.
Right.
Right, yeah, so it's the same population of student. What about you?
Yep. So, in full transparency, I currently work at a charter school.
Okay.
I work at a school that I'm very proud of our track record of student achievement. However, the decisions to bring charter schools into the school district is not a decision that's made by the Board of Education.
Right.
That is something that comes from the state.
Right.
And so there is really no control of it. I just think sometimes the dialogue between charters and district schools sort of is a fear-mongering tactic. So I'm running for Jersey City Board of Education, and I'm running for our public schools, not for charter schools. And what I am committed to do is bringing some of the experiences that I've had working at a successful school, serving high-need children, bring some of those best practices to the district and share that more broadly.
Okay, well, then we'll start with you very quickly. Why should people vote for you?
So I believe people should vote for me because I have the background as an educator for the past 10 years. I am inspired by the children that I see constantly, and I just have the desire to, as a community member and a small business owner, to make an impact here in Jersey City and, desire to one day maybe be a proud Jersey City public school mom.
Okay, terrific. And what about you, Lorenzo?
Well, I hope that everyone will consider Lorenzo Richardson 1H for the Board of Education, along with my teammates Gina Verdibello 5H and Gerald Lyons 7H. One of the main reasons why I think I should be selected as a board member is because, first of all, I have a background in accounting. And if you understand what's going on with facilities, if you understand what's going on with the teachers' contracts, if you understand what's going on with supplies not being in the right places in all the schools, with books and things, that all involves money.
Right.
And we need to make sure that the money is going where it needs to be, because the money should be focused on the children first, and we make sure that everything else is available for everything else when it comes to facilities and the other needs of the district.
All right, terrific. I wish we would have had more time to share with you, but thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, so we have two more candidates who are running for the Board of Ed. Next to me is Gina Verdibello and Michael Reilly. So Gina, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a stay-at-home mother of 3 young children that attend PS 17. I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. I also I was a grant writer before I decided to stay home. I also am a real estate agent in Jersey City. But I've also done a lot with the schools. I'm on the early education committee at the board. And I take a lot of time to go to board meetings and whatnot because I feel that it's very important because I have 3 children. I have an investment in this city. So, but that's basically it. I'm very more of an advocate for parents such as myself.
And how old are your children?
8, 6, and 4.
Okay, which grades are those?
That's 3rd, 1st, and pre-K.
And pre-K. Okay. And what about you, Michael?
I'm Mike Reilly. I'm from Jersey City since 1979. I came in here as a teacher. I got a job at Dickinson High as a substitute teacher, basketball coach, soccer coach, and I've been here ever since. I taught in the public schools until a year ago. I retired, so I guess I've taught over 40,000 students in my time in Jersey City. I'm still involved with sports. Sports are my life, really. And the community is a big part of sports. My deal is tying the two together and giving us a fair shot. I'm proud to be a Jersey City person. I'm just happy to be here today.
Okay. So, starting with you, why are you running for Board of Ed? Especially now that you're retired. Aren't you tired of the schools?
Right. I'm not... in a way, yeah. It's a good thing being retired, get up and watch the Lone Ranger every morning and things like that. But as I was leaving, people said, Mr. Reilly, you should run for Board of Ed. You have some good ideas. And my supervisor from the athletics department was pushing it. And why not give it a try, make a promise? And I'm going in with the idea if I win, I'm not going on Meet the Press. If I lose, I'm not hitting the Verrazano. But I'm going to throw some good ideas at the people of Jersey City.
And what about you, Gina?
I'm running, obviously I'm a parent, just as many of the people running are, but I'm running because I'm frustrated with the system. I'm very frustrated. That's why I go to all the board meetings, because I want better. I think all of us deserve better. Our children, our teachers, or anybody that's involved in this, even the taxpayer, because it's a big budget.
Oh,
and
it's huge.
The facilities are a main thing that I focus on, and I find a lot of issues that I've been working on. I'm very proactive. I don't just see something and not say something and not do something. Like I said, I've been to the board meetings, but that doesn't always do anything.
Or do you feel that the board is ineffective? I know they were trying to limit public speaking to 5 minutes.
Right, and they also don't take it anymore. So people
Right.
outside of here are not seeing what's going on and all the issues that are happening. A lot of parents work at night, so it's hard for someone to see what's really happening at their school. I was at PS 29 and talking to parents and recently found out there is no nurse there. There is not a nurse.
How many students are there?
At
the school?
Oh, that school. Well, that's a smaller school. I mean, it only goes up to I think probably fifth grade. So it's a smaller school. But I think there's a floating nurse. However, I know as a mother with a child that has a peanut allergy, that is a very scary thing. If you have asthma or diabetes or anything, even if you fall and hit your head, that's a major issue. That's for parents. And the parents didn't even know. So there's a lot of disrespect, too, to the parents when, we're sending our kids to these schools and hoping that things are okay and we're not sure anymore. And there's been a lot of security issues, too, in the last month. Kids missing, being found, which is great. But these things should not be happening.
Right. And what about you, Michael? Do you see some deficiencies that you want to address? Is there anything specific?
Sure, without
Have you
doubt.
attended Board of Ed meetings?
A little bit, not as much as most. But I'm out there in the schools. I'll be doing the football game tonight, Dickinson Snyder.
As a coach?
As a PA announcer.
Oh, the PA announcer. Okay.
When you go out there and you see other places, you go out to Newark.
Right.
Newark has brand new school stadium. They have Weequahic High School has a state-of-the-art gym. Central High School has a new gym. Facilities all over the place. Newark has the #1 girls high school basketball team in New Jersey, the #1 public boys high school team in New Jersey. Kids feel good about themselves. The community feels good about themselves. You go to the football game on Thanksgiving, Shabazz and Weequahic, 5,000 people will be there. Every school has a band. They have a drum major. We don't. Why can't we?
I don't know. Well,
Why
we spent
can't we?
$665 million. We get a lot of state aid. I'm
Yes.
sure Newark gets more state aid
Yeah.
than we do. But
Well-
our taxes are really high
Yes.
here.
Right.
And we're only
Yes.
we're paying about 16.5% of the total budget. The rest of it comes from
Right.
state, federal, miscellaneous.
Right.
Yes.
So it comes down to how you spend it.
Exactly.
And that's what
Exactly.
we're all here about, really.
Is how it's being spent.
Let's get some priorities in order. Let's get our head out of the sand and
Yeah.
Right.
let's see what's up.
Okay.
There's no way a mom at 29 school should have to worry about things like, security and
Right, in the
allergies
nursing,
and
yeah.
so on.
Okay. And are you guys, are you running independently? You're
I'm
independent.
by myself.
You're by yourself.
Yep.
Okay. And what about you, Gina?
I'm part of the children's first team with Lorenzo Richardson and Gerald Lyons. And my name obviously is Gina Verdibello, and we're 1H, 5H, and 7H.
Okay, fine. Well, that'll be up on the screen. Okay. So what do you think about chartered schools?
I understand that charter schools are sort of taking money away from our public schools, although it is technically public
They're
schools.
public students, yeah, they're public
I
students.
understand why parents choose to send their children to charter schools. I really do, after just saying what I said about the nurse. I mean, these are things that with those schools, parent involvement is very,
Critical.
and it's there. And in this city, it's just really hard to get parents to go to the board meetings. Like I
Or
said,
take an interest.
because of the way it's structured, that they have it at nighttime where,
But if they had it during the day, people work during the day.
Yeah, well, that's why we need to get televised again. We need those comments, those public comments are crucial because people really want to see what's really going on at your school or, these issues that we're bringing up, like security, facilities, like I told people about that nurse and one woman said to me, I didn't even know that.
Right.
And that's scary. It's scary to I don't even go to that school. And
Right.
I just found, and I confirmed it. It wasn't like I was just
Right.
making it up.
But I have to think back, when I was in Catholic school, that was my first 8 years, we didn't have a nurse. We never had a nurse. I don't think they have nurses. I come from a little town northeast of Pittsburgh. I'm sure the high school's got one nurse, but for the most
have a
part, we
lot
never,
of
we
peanut
never
Secretary
had
was a
it.
nurse,
Their
right?
allergies, I don't know if it's, environmental.
Yeah,
but
that
we have a
makes me
lot-
think it is,
It's very
yeah,
scary.
yeah.
We have a lot of kids that will, can die of it. And it's
Right.
just, I know I'm very concerned by that.
Yeah, no, I understand your thoughts on it, but I worked at a preschool in finance, and we had 5. They were scattered in 5 locations, but we didn't have a resident nurse. I don't know of any of them that did. That did, kind of thing. All right, fine. So, in terms of like accomplishments, you're more concerned about the athletics, from what I'm hearing
I would
here.
start with athletics,
Right.
but there's other things you want to get on as well.
Right.
Just one of my pet peeves would be, as a teacher, Monday is the worst day for having work done. You never give a test on Monday if you
Right.
can help it. Why can't we have libraries open on Sunday? Why can't kids have a place to go? We're hooked in with recreation. You got the McLeod, Bethune-McLeod Rec Center. Why can't you open up, have kids come in? There's kids that want to learn. We act like kids don't want to learn. They want to learn
Right.
if you put the right situation out there.
Okay. And what do you, just a quick thought, what are your thoughts on the fact that there's no teacher's contract? We'll start with you, Gina.
I'm very upset by that because, again, it really just hurts the children and it also hurts the teachers because I've spoken to a lot of teachers that have second jobs. They're either, realtors, babysitters.
So you think they should get the 20% over 3 years?
Well, I'm not saying they should get, no, I'm not saying that at all. I think they deserve what they deserve. I mean, obviously I'm not in the negotiations. I don't know what they're, what they really want, but I do know that what they do, they should get it because they deserve.
Well, they're still
it.
being paid.
Right, they're getting paid,
Yeah,
but there are a lot of
right. They're
people
not
that
working
have
for
been
free.
working for about 10 years, and they're ready to go on to another bubble step, and they're
Right.
not getting what they deserve at that point, and that makes a big major difference in someone's family. I mean, if you have food to put on a table, an extra 10,000 or whatever it is that you're supposed to be getting, it makes a major difference. I like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mother. My husband is the one that takes care of all of us. I mean, that's 5 people, and so
Sure.
it
But
can
most
get,
people in their careers don't get bubbles. Only union jobs. I mean, you can be, a lot of times what happens is people try to hire someone more junior so they can cut the salary. They don't give them necessarily a bubble. That's only a
Right.
union. You work 8 years and all of a sudden you're doing the same job and you get an extra $10,000
Right.
because you've hit a bubble. That doesn't
Well,
happen in the private
takes
sector.
a long time though for these teachers. They start out at it's a low salary, and to get to
Not
that.
anymore. I don't agree with that. Not anymore. What about you?
If you're a young kid starting out in life,
Uh-huh.
it's tough to raise a family and be a teacher and live in Jersey City. It's next to impossible.
Yes.
Right. But you can
And-
say that for most professions now.
Well,
You know, a lot of professions. If you can even find a job, the last couple of years, a lot of college grads couldn't even
That's
find
true.
jobs.
And then-
You know what I'm
They
saying?
want the teachers to live here, but they're not going to live here if they can't afford to live here. Do you know what I mean? You were saying earlier
Exactly.
the taxes are high.
Oh,
So
they are.
let's talk about how you're going to pay taxes and put food on the table, and
Right.
and then ask to live here. It's just it's a little.
Well, it's a multifaceted problem, but
Yeah.
a 20% increase over 3 years is going to make things a lot worse, in my opinion. Because first of all, they can only raise it 2%. That's the maximum tax
2%,
cap.
but 2%, I don't think is unreasonable.
No, I don't think that's unreasonable. What I'm saying is with health insurance and,
Right.
and pensions taking up a huge part of that increase, there's not that much left. So consequently, then you're going to have to make cuts.
Yes.
Right, you're going to have
Got
to make
it.
cuts. And nobody wants to see the teachers being laid off, that's
No.
for sure. I don't want to, rush anybody, but just in case, why don't you tell us, why should people vote for you, Michael?
people should vote for me because I'm part of the community. I'm one of us. Feudalism is dead. A lot of Jersey City public education is based on feudalism, where the principal, this is my school, and the Board of Ed, this is my land. Well, it's the people's. It belongs to the people, and the community should take ownership over what goes on. There's no reason why on a Saturday afternoon a guy can't go into public school 17 and shoot hoops with his kid. He pays taxes for it. Why kids who want to play musical instruments can't go down into the cafeteria and play. Why we can't open things up to the public. It's ours, not theirs. And
Okay, that's fine. And Gina?
Well, I am, like I said, I'm a parent. I'm looking at this at a perspective of a parent, and I'm very concerned about the way things are being spent. They're spending money frivolously, and I want to make our schools better. I also would like to see playgrounds. I would also like to see greener schools. I'd like to see more community effort, just like you're saying. I think that that's really important. That's why I started a Girl Scout troop, because I knew it was something that was necessary in this time, and especially in an urban area. I've been doing that for 3 years, and I've expanded it actually to other schools. So, like I said, I'm very proactive. I'm doing the things that I want to do. I have the time. I want to be able to do more, but I feel like going to board meetings isn't enough. I want to be part of the process, and I want to do more. So I hope that the voters come out and vote, and I hope to make things a little bit better.
All right, wonderful. Well, best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Okay, don't forget to vote Tuesday, November 4th, and you'll be voting for 3 candidates for 3-year terms. And tell your friends and neighbors about Talking Politics, and thanks for watching. Good night.